Hi guys, welcome to the RebelEngineer YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be reacting to a recent viral TikTok video about a lady getting laid off from Cloudflare. Okay, this lady, I think she recently got laid off from Cloudflare and this one has gone viral. So let's see. Yeah, she looks nervous.
Hey, Brittany.
Hi.
Yes, I'm so sorry. My name's Rosie. I'm just joining the call. Nice to meet you. I'm on the HR team.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Okay, so she got two people in the call. A woman from HR and a director she has never heard of. She's getting laid off by some strangers here. So where's her manager though? Or her skip, right? Either you have your manager or your skip, right? I'm not sure. Wait, is it because her manager also got laid off? Or her skip? Well, how about her skip or skip? Maybe the director is her skip or like skip. But if she have never heard of him, then not sure. Okay, let's keep going.
Thanks for meeting with me and Rosie. We have an important meeting today. We finished our evaluations of 2023 performance. This is where you have not met Cloudflare expectations for performance.
Okay, so the thing about this is she's never seen these two people before and director that she doesn't know. And he gave her performance review. The first thing I noticed about this video is where's her manager? So if you have a PIP conversation, for example, let's say performance problems or something like that, you should have talked to your manager. Maybe she talked to her manager before this. This conversation, her manager should be here. One thinking about this is her manager is either a coward or incompetent, or her manager was also fired before her or also on the same day. Well, the thing is, if her manager is coward or incompetent, she's lucky, right? She's lucky to be fired because she's not gonna grow under a manager that just escape or scapegoat or just be absent from his or her duty. From this call, if the manager was not also fired, or if the manager is not on the line for fire, and the way the manager reacts is like this, like I think the next person who should be fired is her manager, because this is very incompetent. When you have a subordinate or like a person reporting to you that perform badly, first you should have communicated with them beforehand. And if that's not the case, then at least this conversation should be the HR, the manager, and her. This is really bad management. Your job as a manager is to communicate, and this is really bad management, I would say. Really bad. If a manager is coward or incompetent and cannot attend this meeting and does the basic job of a manager, I think that she's probably fortunate to be laid off, because she's not going to be able to grow under this company. Essentially, when you work for a company, your fate really depends on who your manager is, right? So it seems that her manager is a really absent manager. It was really hard. It's going to be really hard for her to actually stand up for herself, because that means she has no backup now. If this is a case of manager and skip manager and the entire department are laid off, then she stand no chance. But if the skip manager and the manager are cowards and incompetent and cannot attend the meeting, she is probably fortunate that she got laid off from this company, because she probably won't have any future with these incompetent managers. I'm going to be very clear, because your future in a company depends a lot on your manager, who your manager is and who your skip is. And it looks like her manager and her skip are not on the call. So probably either both were laid off, or both were incompetent, or both were cowards, and she will have a better future in another place, I believe. Okay, let's keep going.
Ways with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Sure.
So I started August 25th. I've been on a 3-month ramp, and then it was 3 weeks of December, and then a week of Christmas, and then here we are. I have had the highest activity amongst my team. Since I've started, I have had 3 contracts out, done a really great job managing my deals up until the very end that decided not to close last minute. So I don't think that makes a lot of sense for me in my Cloudflare journey here so far. Also, every single one-on-one I've had with my manager, every conversation I've had with him, he has been giving me nothing but I am doing a great job. I have had great activity. I have really great meetings. I'm picking up the products very quickly, and things have been going really, really well. I make really great relationships with my clients. So I disagree that my performance hasn't been, I haven't met performance expectations, when I certainly have, just because I haven't closed anything officially.
Okay, so there was communication between her and her manager. And the thing is, the manager is not here. And the manager said good things about her during performance review. Probably the manager or the skip manager, or both of them, were also laid off, right? So probably that's the reason. Here she's trying to justify her performance. But the thing is, you're talking to HR person and a director that doesn't know you. So probably they are not going to have your back. HR works for the company. HR protects the company's interest. And the director here, you have never seen him before. So, essentially, even though she's trying to clarify herself, probably like she's being emotional and she's probably like sharing with them or something like that. But this is not gonna cut it. If your manager puts you on because it say initially here performance not meeting expectation, it means that probably her manager or her skip put her here, because if it's a random layoff, they will do it regardless of performance. They won't use the word performance. But if they use the word performance, number one is they're trying to avoid paying severance. They're being a cheap ass here. Number one. Number two is, I believe that her manager essentially bailed on her. Either they were better, really better employees on the team, or her manager just not able to communicate clearly to her, or just being a stretcher. On one hand, he said, hey, she was meeting expectation, and now she was fired for not meeting expectations. So very inconsistent communication. Again, I said again, if your manager or your skip manager are either incompetent or cowards or can't access your ability correctly, then, you're probably better off working for someone else, to be honest. Okay, let's keep going.
I hear you.
Also, why are you doing this and not my manager? Not,
See,
we've never met.
Here, I would stop and say, if her manager and her skip manager were also laid off, it is probably good for her too. Cloudflare is a tech company, so let's talk about the tech industry a little bit, right? So you remember when Yahoo was a really big corporation, Google came along and really outdated Yahoo, really beat Yahoo up. And, probably tons of Yahoo employees have been laid off since Google was catching up on fire. And after Google market share went way up and Yahoo market share went way down in terms of search traffic. So I believe that when a company had to lay off manager and skip manager, but if they had to lay off so many people, that means that probably they're going downhill. Or probably AI, they're using AI to replace people. Think about all the Yahoo employees who were laid off from Yahoo as a result of Google becoming the more dominant, right? At the time, probably those Yahoo employees feel very angry and sad and very disappointed. But as time goes on, well, they just join Google and become Google employees. That's the first thing. And the second thing is they probably move to other companies who probably perform way better than Yahoo since. So when you are laid off from a company that is not doing well, at the time you may feel very, it's a very unfortunate thing. But in the long run, if the company was not doing well, they won't be able to pay you bonuses or give you stock options as well as other companies. I knew many people at Google who are ex-Yahoo employees, and they were sad at the time that the company had to fire them. But then after that, they joined Google and they became very happy, because Google stock has gone way up since, and it's nothing bad to be think of. So if the company were not doing well, you are better off working somewhere else. To be honest, I know the market is being very hard right now. It's really difficult to find a job in tech or any other industry. But it was the same thing during the dot-com bubble, right? I mean, when dot-com burst, it was also really hard to find jobs, right? But those tech employees or, employees who were laid off from these companies end up with other jobs that probably pay better and end up with companies that were still hiring and recruiting, which meant that these companies were doing better than the companies that have to do layoff. She probably will land a better role elsewhere. Yeah.
This seems a little odd that my manager has no idea that this has been happening.
Yeah, it's
and
very
the director
hard.
has no idea that this has been happening. So I'm just definitely confused, and yeah, I would love like an explanation that makes sense.
100%. Real quick, let me carve out the two threads. The latter of why I'm on this conversation, I'll put that one to the second half, and Rosie might be better to explain the process of who's giving this information in the prior piece, which is your feedback and notes about your performance. So let me add a little color context to that. So just for clarification, you are not being singled out in this. Your peers are also being collectively assessed on performance. This is a collective calibration for Cloudflare. So I just want to clarify that piece. I won't be able to add any kind of specifics on numbers or...
Wait, yeah, no, can you explain for me why Brittany Peach is getting let go?
I won't be able to go into specifics for numbers.
Wait, why though? I just started. I've been working extremely hard. Just because
Yeah, he can't get specific to number. He said he cannot get specific to number because he has no idea what he's talking about. Right? He's laying off someone that's not under his reports that he has never seen before. So he has no idea. He has no clue, essentially. He can't go into detail because he had no clue. He has no clue. That's it.
I haven't closed anything that has nothing to do with my performance on a 3-month ramp with just 1 month with 2 major holidays in the middle. I don't think that has anything to do with why I should be let go, if that makes sense. So I really need an answer and an explanation as to why Brittany Peach is getting let go, not why Cloudflare decided to hire too many people and are now actually realizing that they can't afford this many people and they're letting that go. If that's the real answer, I would rather just you tell me that instead of making up some bullshit and telling me that right before I lose my job from someone that I've never met before, if you can respect that.
Yeah, I can totally respect that. And I don't think Dom or myself today is going to give you any clarity or answers that's going to meet the expectations that you're communicating to us, Brittany. So I can't speak to...
So am I getting let go for no reason?
They have no clue.
If you guys can't give me a reason?
I'm happy to follow up with you separately to give you the data that was calibrated. I'll need to speak with revenue leadership specifically to see if we can get that.
They're not going to follow up. They're not going to follow up. They have no clue. And the company doesn't want lawsuit, okay? This is the capitalist country. The company is not going to follow up, okay? The company is going to ghost her. They're not going to follow up. Not likely. Not very likely they're going to follow up. They don't want lawsuits, okay?
For you, but Dom and
Can
I
you
did
share
not
that
have
with me
that
now?
in our meeting. I cannot share that with you right now, unfortunately. Yeah, it's understandable how you feel and your...
HR always has the most garbage answer I have ever seen. So usually HR only protect the company. HR doesn't care about you. Usually they have like really garbage answers. That's what my experience is.
Your frustration, cannot stress that enough.
I have been working extremely hard. I just knew that this meeting was coming after knowing what's been happening with my peers and how extremely frustrated and upset everyone is. I know you guys must not be able to understand that given in the positions that you are in, and it must be very easy for you to just have these little 10-minute, 15-minute meetings, tell someone that they're fired, completely wreck their whole life, and then that's it with no explanation.
Yeah,
That's extremely traumatizing for people, if you can imagine that. And I don't think that this is, it's just very, very shocking. Very, very shocking. I've like really given my whole energy and life over the last 4 months to this job. And to be let go for no reason is like a huge slap in the face from a company that I really wanted to believe in.
Yeah, so the thing is, you should not attach your value to a company. A company is just a place you go to earn money. The key to, I believe, moving forward from a layoff is you don't believe in the corporate bullshit, right? It's all BS. Believe in yourself, okay? And I don't think she's an incompetent person from the way she communicates and the way she talks. She's probably a good communicator. You know, you should not make a company or a corporation your life. I'm not saying all companies are bad. The fact of the matter is we live in a capitalist country. Her poor performance should have never been a surprise in the first place. And I believe there is something going wrong here with the manager's inability to give feedback. But the reality is like most managers are incompetent. So the key for her to moving forward is to understand that she probably like went to the wrong company. If she wants to take some extreme ownership, I think her mistake here was choosing the wrong place to go to. The thing about Layoff is you should realize that you're not incompetent. And she is definitely not incompetent from what I have seen. I mean, if her manager's feedback is her performance was good, that probably meant that her performance was good. If you were doing poorly, the most managers will not give you like flying reviews or flying performance reviews. Let's keep going.
To be honest with you, there's nothing that we're going to say in this call in the time that we have that's going to undo the way that you feel right in this moment. I personally will do everything that I can to give you as much specific information as I can after this call. I can't make any promises. I understand where you're coming from. I can tell you that Dom and I do care. I understand the feeling that you have right now, and I can't change that. So I'll just be honest.
The HR lady doesn't understand her feeling, okay? She doesn't, because she's keeping her job. The director is still keeping his job, so they don't understand her feelings. That's very clear.
But why can't...
Let's just say like corporate speak, like typical corporate speak.
So, but you guys have still not given me a reason why I'm being let go.
They have no idea. They have no idea.
Despite constant positive praise from my manager, great meetings that I'm having, the amount of activity that I have has all been positive. I have not received any negative inclination. I have not been put on a performance improvement plan, nothing. So...
And I cannot speak to what your manager has communicated to you directly.
But that should be the indication of
poor performance based on your attainment and leading indicators of data. That is the rationale.
But I've been here for only a month after ramping, and that was during a holiday. So I don't understand what those. Can you explain what those performance metrics are, or is that just like a vague term to give to everyone that you're speaking to today?
Yeah, so I agree. So performance is usually a vague term, right? So performance can change, right? When you work at a company, like today, let's say the performance is sell 10 cars, and tomorrow it can be like sell 20 cars. The performance metric at most companies, tech companies included, are usually very vague, right? So yeah, so they, if they want to put someone as like not meeting performance, they can just raise the performance bar. So I believe in most companies' contract, there's no requirements about the performance metrics have to be fixed during the performance review. So, you know, in most companies, they can just like change it up and down. Your manager said you were doing well, but you know, all of a sudden, you know, the company need to cut people. They can just raise the performance standard, right? There's no legal or like you are not signing any paper with them saying that, hey, this is a legal bounding that you should, your performance should be like this throughout the entire review period. There's nothing like that. Okay, let's keep going.
I'll say that the performance indicators and performance metrics are, while they are, we're not able to go into specifics, and there's no situation where we will be able to go into.
Do you guys even know like why, like who you're talking to each day, like every single 10, 15 minutes?
They don't know. They don't know. They don't know.
Like why you're letting these people go when
Nope.
you don't even understand like the kind of work and everything that they've put in.
See, that's your manager's job and your skip manager job, right? So they are not here. They had probably either been laid off before or they were just being incompetent. If you were laid off from a company with manager and skip manager like this, you're probably lucky.
I hear you and what you're saying.
It just doesn't make any sense that you guys have still not been able to give me a reason why I'm being let go.
Just from a process perspective, your questions are valid. This isn't going to be the forum and the situation where we're able to go into the detail that you're looking for.
But then when? If it's not right as I'm getting fired, it's certainly not going to be after when I'm no longer part of the company.
No. So I don't think there's anything we can say in this moment or today, Brittany, that's going to change the way that you feel. And it's understandable. I'm taking notes and feedback, and we'll circle back.
Yeah, I know. You definitely asked me too, but
that's the meeting. It's not going to change the outcome of the situation today, so it may be.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, see. They just come here to get the job done, right? They can't change the situation, and they're not coming here to change her situation. So
do get into more of the specifics of what the next steps are, because I think it's clear that you have questions that we cannot give answers to. And if you'd be open to it, I'd love to move into what the next steps are so that you're not any further blindsided than you already feel.
Okay.
it's okay. I mean, she may feel bad for now, but I think she'll be better off working elsewhere, because I think this is not a very good place, or I would say the really bad place to work if the way they do layoff or any firing is like this.
Thank you, Dom. Okay, and I'm really sorry that you're having this experience and feeling this way.
No, she's not sorry. The HR lady, she's keeping her job. She's not sorry.
Confirm your personal email address, because that's where
Okay, that's the end of the video. So yeah, that's my reaction to the video. So I think this lady probably would be better off working elsewhere. This is a really bad place to work, I would say, if they do lay off like this. Okay, so that is the video. Now let's see what the comments say. Let's see. It is so cringe that Cloudflare and others decide to blame poor performance instead of just admitting they overhire and have to do mass layoffs. Well, I would say, like, maybe they're not really overhiring. Yeah, they overhire, but maybe it's not necessary for them to do layoff. Most of these companies still have massive profits. I'm not sure about that. Like, I think this year, we are in 2024 right now, and I don't think the mass layoff has anything to do with just poor performance or the overhire during the pandemic. If companies lay off this year, it's probably because AI and maybe the economy gets worse, or some companies have record profit and they can totally pay their staff. But again, we are in late stage capitalism, so companies are going to maximize shareholders' value. That's why they do layoff. The thing is, they don't have to overhire to do like mass layoff. That's a misconception. The overhire is just a reason for them to fire people. They already fired last year. They already did mass layoff last year. If this year they fire, it's because they want to maximize shareholders' value. We have AI revolution too, so that's one thing. They can totally do layoff whenever they want. They don't need a reason. Okay, so that's the comments. Okay, so there's also a comment, like a post from the CEO of Cloudflare. He says something like, it's normal. Within 3 months or less of a sales hire, she was hired for more than 3 months. So she was hired for 6 months from her video. This is not gonna cut it. You can just say something like, we try to maximize shareholders' value. If he says that, I would believe him more than like this BS, essays, whatever he put here, because the manager was totally absent. Okay, he said here managers should always be involved. From this comment, it's probably that the manager was not fired. And yeah, I mean, but for some reason that this type of manager still keeps his or her job. It's funny. No employee should ever actually be surprised they weren't performing. Yeah, she was surprised she was not performing. Her manager keeps saying good things about her. And then her manager did not show up during the layoff. So what does that say about the manager, right? And sometimes under employment don't actually listen to the feedback they have gotten before we let them go. Okay, her feedback is totally good. That's what she got. Now, the mistake is not, he said here, the mistake was not being more kind and humane as we did. Now, the mistake is not about being more kind and humane. The mistake here is miscommunication. The mistake here is mismanagement. He's trying to justify management here, but whenever there's something happens in layoff, usually the employees are blamed. So here in this case, he tried to blame the employee. So they underperform. They did not actually listen to the feedback. How about your manager is underperforming? Your manager did not show up, right? And the manager still keeps his or her job. It's telling me something about management here. This is bad management. Like, manager should always be involved. You know this, right? But any healthy org need to people who aren't performing off. So who is not underperforming here? The manager does not communicate. That's essentially the entire job of the manager. If you have a manager who cannot communicate clearly to the report and who does not show up on the day that the report layoff, like that manager represents somehow the company's culture. Whenever things like this happen, they just blame the employee. And he's a CEO, so he's really good at blame game. But also the thing about this is she was relatively new, so she's probably more prone to layoff. It is more likely that people with more years experience and people who have been at the company for a long time will usually keep their jobs. Okay, so one thing to note in instances like this is, when the spill out happened, the public already formed their own opinions. The idea that the CEO or the manager coming up here trying to justify by blaming and not even like admitting that this is a bad management mistake and trying to go up and fix the spill out by further shift the blame to the employees, or saying that not being more kind and humane, like that's not gonna sway the public opinion. This is bad firefighting. He should just shut up and stay silent, and that would be much better for his company. Again, this saga highlights that the companies look after themselves and the shareholders, and the companies don't look after you. So you are a cog in the wheel. You're just a number in the machines. Whatever they say, whatever perks they give you, all they do is to maximize the productivity you have at work and milk the maximum out of your daily hours. Things like this happen. As a manager, you should face your report. You should be in a meeting. Here, the manager is trying to run away. Mr. Manager, you should show up, and you're not gonna die. She's not hunting you down with an AK-47 in the middle of a Vietnam's rice field. Okay, so don't be a coward. When you need to communicate difficult conversations, show up. Especially if you're communicating with a female here. I mean, what is so scary about her? I don't understand. Don't be a coward. Be a leader. Choose one. You can be a leader or you can be a coward. Choose one. Both the CEO and the manager are being cowards here. CEO coming online, blaming the employees, and saying they are not being more kind and humane. Go back to school and study management 101. Go back to school. And the manager should be more brave. I mean, especially if you're a man, should be able to talk to a woman in difficult situations. How can this type of beta male be in management? And how can this CEO be a CEO? I don't understand, to be honest. Who is the underperformers here? So that's what I have been saying again and again. So as employees or software engineers in general, she's not a software engineer, but as employees in general, I know it's hard. I know at the end of the day, we are mostly slaves. We should try our best to chase freedom and autonomy and ownership instead of chasing, some titles, some money. At the end of the day, most companies care about themselves. So we should be caring more about ourselves, right? We should chase our own interest. Don't put the company first. She has been attaching her own identity with this company. Right? You should not be doing that. They can let you go at any time. Most people who get laid off just keep silence and going up on LinkedIn and doing cringe stuff and praising the companies that just fire them. But she came here and she actually whistleblowing. So I believe that she's a very competent and brave person. And it looks like she has great communication skills. So I believe that she will be better elsewhere. The juice is not worth the squeeze here. This company is not worth working for, to be honest. Like, I have actually applied to Cloudflare a couple of times, and their HR department is super slow. Like, they never responded. Like, I'm an ex-Google. My communication between the HR person, and even after I passed that first round and second round, usually the communication with the HR person is subpar. So usually they are very slow to respond, or sometimes they don't even communicate clearly with me what is going on. So when HR communication is subpar, probably the entire communication of the company is really bad. Okay guys, so that's my take on this viral TikTok video. Hope you enjoy watching the episode, and see you later in the next videos. Bye bye.